Yo, what is good everybody? It's your boy Tej, and in this video I'm going to be showing y'all how to make a beat for Lil Baby, specifically some more unique ambient type of style similar to the leaks or snippets that have been coming out for his new album. This loop and some others are part of my free sample pack I released recently, so I'll leave a link to that in the description, so be sure to go check that out. So per usual, I'm going to be showing y'all my whole process of making the sample and flipping it. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy these types of videos, be sure to hit subscribe and follow me on Instagram if you want to know the latest about these videos or anything else I'm working on. As always, I'll have the finished beat played at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around for that. And with all that out of the way, let's just hop right into the beat. So y'all know the drill. I'm gonna show y'all the finished sample before I break anything down. So the tempo for the sample is 157 BPM. I'd say anything in like the 140 to 170 probably works pretty well. I mean, this is more of like one of those up-tempo and ambient sounding samples. So starting off with the first melody sound, I opened up Analog Lab and I went to the Abelia preset bank and I got this Paradise Synth Key preset. So I went into the MIDI and put in this pattern right here. And all I did for the second half is just pitch it down an octave. So it's basically just the same notes. So for the first part of this MIDI, I believe I used the key of C minor. And if you look closely, it's pretty much resembling like a C minor triad or a C sustained 2 triad. Here we have the C minor triad, which is the first note in the scale, third and fifth note in the minor scale. Or you could just copy the note up and move it up by 3 spaces and then copy that note and then move that one up by 4. For this one, you just move that second note down 1/2 step. For the most part, I just have this basic pattern playing throughout the entire sample. And then so I just copied that for my full 8 measures. I also went up to the higher notes here and I penciled in some counter melody notes just to make it sound a little more interesting and overall just add in a little extra vibe to it. And the octave down version sounds something like this. I routed that to a mixer track and I added a couple of effects to it. I put 2 instances of Effectrix on it. I put on this one right here on the 1/8 tempo setting, and I just put the reverse on these notes that you see here. And then I put the mix level to about 75%. And then I opened up another instance of Effectrix and then just put this on with the reverb, delay, and like the vinyl effect. And that's what's making that tape stop sound on every other measure. And the mix level on this one's also about 75%. So then I opened up another instance of Analog Lab and I went back to the same Abelia bank and I got this Island Key preset, and I just took the MIDI from the previous pattern and just copied it and moved it down by an octave. So by itself it sounds like this. And putting it together with the lower octave of the first melody, we have something that sounds like this. For effects on the second melody, I put on some Portal on the partial divide preset and I put these settings on it. And then I also put a low cut EQ to cut out some of the bass and like low mid frequencies. Once I finished the first 2 melodies, I rendered them out as audio clips and I put them into the arrangement. And on both of them, I pitched them down by 400 cents. So the new key of the sample is G sharp minor. And once I had done that, I added the last 2 patterns. So then for the next melody sound, I opened up Omnisphere in this Palace 808 Mafia bank and I got this Angel's Bell preset. I put in this fairly straightforward bell pattern just to kind of go along with some of the melodics that we have. And for effects on the bell, I went back into the Portal and I got the Grain Swells preset and put these settings on. And then for my last sound for the sub bass, I opened up Omnisphere again and I got this Turkey Basster preset and put in this pretty typical like Lil Baby 4PF kind of bass pattern. So once I had all my stems rendered out as WAV files, I arranged the loop and I exported that as a WAV file. So once I had the rendered version of that, I imported that into a new FLP. I started on the drums, arranged the stem accordingly, and finished the beat. I kept the tempo the same, but I pitched it up by 600 cents. So the key that the drums are in are D minor. And since I also pitched it up, the sub bass sounded kind of weird. So I just took the original sub bass and pitched it down by 600 cents so that it just sounds better. It's not an octave up. Overall, for these drums, I tried to keep it fairly simple. I didn't want to add too many elements because we already had kind of like an up-tempo and busy sounding sample. I know I say that a lot on this channel, but a lot of the samples I've been making recently don't really go well with really complicated drums. Call it an excuse, you could say I'm lazy with my drums, but I just don't want to make the beats that I make unusable. I started with a pretty standard sounding clap and with a pretty straightforward pattern. It's just the third beat of every measure. Next, I put in my hi-hat pattern, and as y'all can probably see, it resembles pretty close to like a two-step pattern, and then I just threw in a bunch of rolls. I believe all of them are using the 1/3 step snapping. Next, I put in my open hat. The placement of these is a little different from where I typically put them on beats or where I normally hear them, but I just decided to do something a little different this time. Next, I put in my snare, and these hit on pretty typical spots, and the rolls aren't anything too crazy. I think they're both using the 1/2 step snapping. And lastly, I put in the heart and soul of this beat, which is the 808. With this, you can kind of see I just followed the sub bass pattern pretty closely in terms of the general note placement. So the first half of the pattern is on the root note, and then the second half of the pattern is mostly on the 6th note in the scale. And I didn't do anything too fancy with the rolls or anything. I didn't put any like 1/3 beat rolls or anything of that nature. The only significant thing I did is I think I used the 1/2 step snapping on this roll right here. So that's going to do it for me. Hope you all enjoyed the video, found it helpful, and were able to take something away from it. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like. And if you want to see more tutorials from me, be sure to subscribe. Let me know what you'd like to see next in the comments, and feedback is always welcome. And that's going to do it for me. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Wrong with a stash.